Hello and welcome to the Do Not Disturb podcast. I am your host, Drew Pelter. This is my wife, Sammy. We have Nimmer and Darian in both today. We had our fantasy league champion yesterday, Jack Hooker, on the podcast. Today we have our Pick'em League champion on today. Sammy, why don't you take it away and tell us how you won this year?
Absolutely. First, I'd like to start with where I went right, and then I'll get into where you all went wrong. So, first, my favorite pick of the season, week 3, Vikings versus Texans. Odds were in the Texans' favor. You all picked the Texans. I went with my instinct, and I said Vikings, and I won that one. And that really gave me the confidence to take over at that point. Now, moving on to where you all went wrong. Darian, we'll start with you.
All right.
Darian, your biggest problem was you just forgot to put in your picks one week. That really set you up for failure right there.
It did.
But then you also picked Kirk Cousins as your fantasy league winner, and he was benched. So didn't go too well for you there. Nimmer,
Oh no.
you picked the Jets so many times that I thought you were trying to get an invite to an Aaron Rodgers Darkness League.
Okay.
Finally, Drew. I won purely because I refused to take your advice. In fact, I'd like to highlight your worst pick. Week 14, Bears versus 49ers. You were so confident. You said, pick the Bears. You told everyone on the podcast to pick the Bears. You told them to bet on it. They lost so badly that they fired their head coach. So, this is my official application to be a co-host next year.
We'd love to have you.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, join.
Amazing. Oh my God.
So anyway, fun
So
times.
we have some champions that we are associated with in our fantasy league and in our Pick'em league that bring the heat every time they get on the mic. Thank you guys. Is there anything else you want to say, Sammy?
No, thank you for having me. This is a real pleasure. Just love tearing y'all down.
You're not
Yeah.
two-peating, just letting you know. You're not
Yeah.
two-peating.
Next year, I won't forget 1 week.
I'm coming
Forget
back.
2
I'm
weeks.
coming back for vengeance.
All right. See you
Congrats,
later, Sammy.
Thank you, Sammy.
They say congratulations, by the way.
Dang, she came in just head.
Oh,
high.
yeah.
She was just.
Haymakers.
Hey,
Oh.
it was Kangaroo Court for D&D. All right.
That was great. All right. So we have, let me fix these lights a little bit here. We have a great show for you today. We will start out with the one and only Rage Cage. This is inspired by a drinking game that the boys here on this podcast have played before. You give us a cage, we will rage. We will bring you the most anger you've ever seen on a football podcast. We are here for you. Darian, I want to know what you were raging over today.
Oh, it's been so long being in character. Let me take a moment. Again. Got some new equipment. Can't be mad at that. New mic, who this? New headphones, who this? All good things. But you know what I'm really mad at? Right now is my credibility on this goddamn podcast. No, we might all be laughing, but I have had some of the worst takes, and it's been pointed out on many occasions. Case in point, just 2 seconds ago. We all know we make mistakes. It's opinions. But mine this year, questionable. Now, this is what's going to take some reevaluating. Going to hit the drawing boards this year, this off season. And I'm going to think twice before I say something on this podcast because it bit my ass this year. And I'm mad at myself for giving in and being controversial, not sticking to the damn striations, or the going. We went against the grain a little too much, and I'm mad at myself. And first and foremost, I just want to just give it a huge apology to one, my podcast co-hosts, along with our entire KTHG group. I had some really bad takes about your teams. Kaysen, first and foremost, I said you were the bottom of the barrel in our fantasy league.
That was a bad take.
Mind you, this man had King Henry, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, Marvin Harrison Jr. That might have been like, okay, I was right about that. Miss. But Garrett Wilson, my man's team was stacked. And I said, I had the audacity to look this man virtually in the eyes and say, your team is ass. Bottom of the barrel. And you know what happened? My ass, my team, they said, hold up now. All right, here we are. Got 10th. Now I got to spend 14 fucking hours in a bar in Louisville, Kentucky. Lord knows how people are going to be receptive of me in this skin tone. But I got to drink my way out. Either I'm leaving with friends or I'm leaving in the back of a paddy wagon. I don't know what's going to happen, but I did this to myself, and I am utterly unimpressed with myself and my showing and this team showing. And for that, I'm eternally upset and raging at myself for the shittiest year I've ever had in fantasy football.
Yeah, so the loser in our league, they have to go to a bar from open to close and pretty much drink their way out. There's some stipulations. If you drink a beer, you get some time off. You drink a shot, you get some time off. And that counts down the hours you are in the bar. The really unfortunate part for Darian, which I didn't know until last week, is all the bars in Louisville, Kentucky are open till 4 a.m. So that really sucks.
Man,
That was so funny.
that's pain. I can only blame myself.
Never. What are you raging over today? That was way too much fun for Rage
That was
Games.
hilarious. Yeah. All right, let me get back. Okay, so I have a bone to pick with the organization that I root for. Not even just the organization. I'm not even mad about the organization. I'm not even mad that Russell Wilson didn't run out of bounds, even though he's a veteran quarterback. I'm not mad that George Pickens only caught 1 out of 6 balls against the Bengals. I'm not mad about that. That's fine. I'm more mad about the fans. Okay? There's only two good things that are going on right now with the Steelers. It's our defense, because our defense has been top 5 for however long. We've always counted on our defense. And number 2 is our coach, who's in charge of the defense, by the way.
And your kicker.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about my kicker. That's true. And the kicker. Kicker actually saved me, so, multiple times. But those 3 things are what make the Steelers help the Steelers get to the playoffs. Now everybody's like, "Oh, but we haven't won a playoff game. We haven't won a playoff game." Blah 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 blah. Wouldn't you rather be in the frick? Oh, we can cuss on Rage Cage. Wouldn't you rather be in the fucking playoffs than sitting at home being 4-10 like these other bums? Like, what the fuck are we talking about? I understand we haven't won a playoff game. I get that. We want to go to the Super Bowl. But in general, we don't really have a Super Bowl caliber team anyway. So the fact that we even think that we can even make the Super Bowl, we need to be more realistic. The fact that people are headhunting and want Tomlin out, and it's all over my For You page, want Tomlin out, I don't want them to be Steeler fans anymore. And so help me, and I putting this on live air, if the Steelers fire or trade away Mike Tomlin, I will not be a Steeler fan anymore.
Whoa.
Because
Excuse me?
it's ridiculous. I'm being dead ass. Like, we're getting rid of the only, damn near the only good thing that's happening with their team. Besides their defense. Oh wait, who runs their defense? Mike fucking Tomlin. Do you know how many teams, at least half, if not 3/4 of the league, would kill to have Mike Tomlin as a coach? And us ungrateful ass fucking Steeler fans are like, oh no, he hasn't won a playoff game. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. The fuck are you guys talking about? Who do you guys fucking want? Who would you guys rather have? There's not one free agent coach. The only coach that I really would rather have is Andy Reid. I would choose Mike Tomlin over 30 other coaches. Every 30 coaches in the league besides Andy Reid. So what the fuck are you guys talking about? I hate he hasn't won a playoff game. We run the ball a lot. Oh, our offense looks like shit. Well, guess fucking what? He's not in charge of the offense. So that's not even fucking on him. What coaching has fucking Russell Wilson fumbling the ball after getting hit? This is a veteran quarterback. Does it matter that we won 10 games? I guess fucking not. It's just so frustrating that we want, and this happens year after year after year. Last year they wanted fucking Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's head. We won a couple games. Oh, Mike Tomlin's coach of the year. Mike Tomlin's coach of the year. Like, you either are with them when they're you're either with him when he's good and with him when he's bad, when the team's bad, or stop being a fucking Steeler fan and be a Cowboys fan, because that's all Cowboy fans are. Because so, like, I'm dead. If we get rid of Mike Tomlin, I am no longer becoming a Steeler fan. I'm selling all my shit. Whoever's a Steeler fan that's watching, if we let go of Mike Tomlin this year, you guys can have all my shit. I'm done with the Steelers if that happens. That's my rage coach.
Well,
So
Nim,
frustrating.
you laid it all out there. You gave us the entire meal. I'm going to give you a little secret sauce on top. The Denver Broncos deserve an apology. They 100% deserve an apology. I'll go first. Denver Broncos, I'm sorry that I said you were going to be a 5 to 6 winning team this year. I apologize. But all you other fans out there, you Steeler fans, all you other fans that said Russell Wilson wasn't the problem, come here. Let's talk. Let's talk real quick. So last year, Broncos 2023, they allowed 52 sacks. That was the 6th most sacks in the league. This year, 24 sacks allowed. That's top 3 in the league. Meaning they're giving up way less sacks. Way less sacks. The Steelers, by the way, have given up 49 sacks. That's pretty close to the 52 that the Broncos had just 2 years ago. Let's read off Russell Wilson's past 4 games. I let Russell Wilson go an entire season, mind you. This is now my time to go off on him. His last 4 games, Cincinnati, 148 yards and a touchdown. Really? Let's go Kansas City, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. He threw it into double coverage to start the game. I was at that game, an interception. Baltimore, 217 yards, 2 touchdowns and an INT. Game-sealing pick 6, by the way. Philly,
And a
120 and a fumble. Philly, 128 yards and 1 TD. That's some dog shit. Let's be real here. That is some dog shit. That is terrible. Russ, if the people that are out there, no one's going to say it now. No one's going to say, hey, probably we should have been a little lighter on the Broncos. Everyone was saying, no, it's the Broncos' fault. It's their problem. They ruined Russ. Russ didn't ruin them. He lost to the Bailey Zappi-led Patriots when he was with the Broncos. He lost to the Zach Wilson-led Jets. We gave him a office upstairs. We gave him his own parking spot. He attributed to one of the most sacked teams in the NFL and has very similar numbers with the team he's currently on. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? It's Mr. Russell Wilson. I think the Broncos deserve an apology. Look where we're at now. 1 year with Bo Nix, and we're in the playoffs.
And we're gonna re-sign him too.
Now, let's talk about this since we're on the conversation of Russell Wilson. Mind you, the Steelers went, 4-0 with Justin Fields? And then follow that up with a 6-7 record underneath Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Under 500. Let's marinate on that.
Yeah, but there has to be some type of asterisk in that because look who Russ's team, who he faced, and look who Justin Fields played. You know, like
4-0 is 100%.
No, I know, but when Russ first came in, I mean, what he was 4-0, wasn't he? And then he lost the last 4 games.
Yeah, everyone was dancing in circles when he had his career day against the Bengals the first time around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I'm not
saying
this.
that. I'm just saying I think we talked about this yesterday. If I was a Steelers organization, I would let Russ walk and keep Justin Fields.
1,000%. Why would you re-sign Russ?
The thing is like, why would you even hold on to him for this long?
Yeah.
Even if that's the case, you keep him on the 1 year deal. Yeah, he got you into the playoffs, but I mean, damn near a quarter of I should say, 40% of your wins came from Justin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that still says a lot about Justin in the system. Mind you, we talked about it. His numbers were kind of comparable to Russ's, but he has the rushing upside to evade the sacks that were being coming his way and then extending plays, which Russ can't do. Russ can't extend like he used to. Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
and he makes the worst decisions in crunch time.
Mm-hmm.
Under 3 minutes left against the Giants, he fumbled the ball. They won that game. Against a better team, they would have lost that game. Last week against Cincinnati, clock is running down. You have 1 timeout left, and you decide to try to run over a defender and stay in bounds. Like, that's a rookie mistake.
Yeah. And my thing is, it's like, I think I saw a stat, like, we're the number, like, our passing offense is dictated on big plays. And we can't have that. Like, it's cool to have 1 or 2 big plays, maybe every quarter or whatever, but that being part of your formula, it's very easy to stop, especially when your run game isn't the best. So, I mean, I think that Russ is better than Justin in that deep ball area, and that's why he excelled in the beginning. But then when people started catching on, especially after the first loss, we're like, oh, this is how you stop Russ. And
yeah,
then
just take
now
away
with
Pickens.
George Pickens,
Just take away Pickens, and
yeah,
that's all
what
you
I'm
need.
saying. So now Pickens is 50-50. It used to be like 70-30, 80-20 that he'd catch the ball. Now he's 50-50. Like, I don't know. It's just like, I get how frustrating it is for Steeler fans, but then you blaming it on Mike Tomlin instead of pointing out the problem with Russ. Like, these past 2 years, we had 6 different quarterbacks, 4 different offensive coordinators, and you want Tomlin to succeed? What?
Yeah, any other team with that amount of quarterbacks and coordinators, that's a terrible team. That's the Cleveland Browns.
Playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, we were a terrible team and we made the fucking playoffs. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, we won 10 games this year. 10. I mean, it's so ridiculous that people are shaming Mike Tomlin and want him gone and want them to trade for him and blah 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 blah. Like what? The only thing I would want if we trade Mike Tomlin is 2 first rounders this year and a first rounder next year and maybe throw in a third and a star player. That's what Tomlin's worth. And
there's no
nobody's gonna
chance
do
they
it.
trade him.
No, 100%.
There's
But I'm just
no-
saying in general, people are like, oh, they should trade him and get a better player and get a better quarterback. Shut the fuck up.
I think we all know they're going to bring Tomlin back and they're going to sign Russ to 100 and some odd money
Mhm.
dollar deal.
No, I don't. The Steelers aren't known for giving big deals like that, though, especially to quarterbacks. Especially to a quarterback that hasn't proved. Like I don't even know what we signed Ben for, but I don't think it was that much money. I don't think it was like the top 5 quarterbacks.
No, I'm not saying he's going to be top 5, but all these quarterbacks are getting, $18 million a year.
Yeah.
But he's also old. Like how much, are we gonna? What are we gonna sign him for? A 2-year deal, 3-year deal, and give him $100 million? Like
Probably a 3-year deal.
what are we doing?
Most likely.
And then let Justin walk?
I hope not.
Oh, me too,
But-
man.
That's kind of what I think they're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw this one video, and it's just like, honestly, when we signed Russ, I was like, fuck. Honestly. I just saw this video. I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if it was on Hard Knocks. I haven't seen Hard Knocks yet, but Russ came up after the win. Cam Hayward was walking off the field.
Oh, yeah.
Pissed. Was that on Hard Knocks, or you saw the clip?
No, I saw that on TikTok.
Cam Hayward was walking off the field pissed because they fucking lost. Russ is like, hey, we just need to win this next 4. We just need to win this next 4. Keep your head up. Keep like trying to be encouraging, and you can just tell like Cam's just like, shut the fuck up, man. Get
That was after the
Yeah.
Browns. That was after the Browns game where they lost the next 4.
Mhm.
Oh my God. So it's just so frustrating. And even like now, like you said, like Russ, like I don't know. He has proven that he's not our franchise quarterback or quarterback that can bring any team to the Super Bowl. And that's where the Steelers are right now. We need to go to the Super Bowl.
He's stuck in his old ways. He'll never
Yeah.
change. He'll never change. He'll constantly make the worst decisions in the worst moments. He will lose you the game. He will. I mean, if you get past Baltimore, I think it's going to be a close game. You have that next game against the Bills. He's gonna have some terrible mistakes in that game.
Oh, 100%.
No. It's gonna be bad.
I think this Baltimore Steeler game is going to be super low scoring and ugly.
Mhm.
Yeah. It always is.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I am not confident in the Steelers. Plus, I guess there's a stat that came out that said whenever the quarterback for the Ravens is 28, they win. Every 12 years, they win.
Hmm.
So
That's a weird set.
yeah,
That
it's
is.
funny.
Lamar's 28.
Yeah, it's 28, and then they won the Super Bowl 12 years ago, and then they won the Super Bowl, their first Super Bowl of the century, 12 years ago. So every 12 years they've won a Super Bowl. It's kind of wild.
Well, not going to happen this year.
You don't think so? You don't think they're gonna go?
No.
Who?
Got the Bills, baby.
The Ravens.
The Ravens? Hmm.
Yeah, Ravens.
I think they'll go. I think they have a better defense than the Bills.
Kansas City's going to win it all, guys.
Stop it.
I think we're just lying to ourselves. We know that Kansas City's going to do this.
They're not.
Okay.
They're not, bro.
Okay.
Stop.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think it's going to happen again.
I can't live another year. 90% of my damn office is somehow Chiefs fans. I can't do it. All the
Somewhat
Pat
close.
Mahomes.
Texas and Kansas.
I just too many of those red jerseys. Just fucking piss me off.
It's because they probably were cheering on to the Cowboys, and after 20 years of being terrible, they're like, you know what?
Let's find it.
It's honestly, I think it's because they all went to Texas Tech, So they're Red Raider
Oh,
fans. So they're like, I'm a I'm gonna go watch Pat Mahomes on the Chiefs.
that makes sense.
So I can't fault him for that, but God, it's just that red and white jersey just strike a chord with me, bro. It makes me mad.
That's hilarious. I don't know. I'm maybe I'm being delusional or whatever, but I think the 2 weeks off is really gonna fuck with them. I don't remember the last time that a team did really well when they had 2 weeks off. So who knows?
Yeah. Why don't we move on to the D&D mock draft 1.0?
Yeah, boy.
So this is not really a complete mock draft. We're going to give you the first 5 picks. All of us are going to tell you who we think is going where in the first top 5 picks. If there's going to be any trades that happen in those top 5 picks, what does each team do? Darian, I'll start with you.
Ooh, okay. Here we go. Let me get situated here, because I've been doing these mock drafts for about a week or so now.
Fantasy or NFL? Both.
The NFL draft,
Oh.
and a little bit of fantasy,
Both.
a little both of them. All right. So if we're going mock draft 1.0, and I've been riding this guy, no homo, pause, for all season. I think he is the best QB in a not so stout QB stout class. But the Titans, if I'm seeing Cam Ward at the top of the board, I'm taking him at 101. He is going to be the QB of the future for the Titans. You can keep Levis, maybe have him as like a backup, but he's a liability. You've seen it. He was a meme for 7 weeks straight to begin this season. You can't have that going into this next season. You got to change things up. You got to bolster everything around you, but it starts with the franchise QB. And this one is Cam Ward, best QB in the class. Take him 101. Do you want us to go like each or just our top 5? Like,
Yeah, why don't we go? We'll go each. I think that's probably a better flow.
mhm.
Nimmer, what do you think for Titans?
Yeah, I think the Titans' biggest need right now is a quarterback, and I think that Cam Ward is the best quarterback in college in coming into the draft. So I agree with everything that Darian says. I think that Cam Ward would be the first round or first overall pick.
We're all in agreement. Cam Ward, number 1 at the Titans. That is what the pick should be. When Shador was projected to be the number 1 pick, I was like, man, I don't know if that's the right move. With Cam Ward, I definitely feel like that's the right move. The Cleveland Browns at the 2 spot.
All right. Now, this is where the first shakeup. The Browns do need a QB, but we've also seen their secondary get decimated with injuries. So if I'm them and we're looking at Shador or his teammate Travis Hunter, and you can get kind of best of both worlds with him. He can be a wide receiver. He can be a corner. He's proven to be it in college. Now, I'm going to renege on things that I said to Drew over personal texts. I said that Travis Hunter, I said that he's not the best player, yada, yada, wop, wop. I mean, the kid's talented, and teams are going to know that. And the fact that he can play both ways at a high level and be a Heisman winner, I think the Browns, one, they have Greg Newsome, they have Denzel Ward. Obviously, their futures are kind of in question. Both of them, I believe, were injured at some point during this year. And I think they just want to bolster that secondary, and they have the best chance of having the best player on the board, arguably in the draft, you could say, right there in their hands. I think they go Travis Hunter as opposed to Shador.
Nimmer, what do you think?
So I was actually, on my paper, I put Travis Hunter, but I also thought the Browns really don't have. The Browns are in cap hell, right? Because of the
Yeah.
quarterback. And I don't know if they'll really draft a quarterback. They need a quarterback, obviously, but I don't think they're really going to draft a quarterback. So I think they really just need rookies. They need cheap men that are really good. So I think that the Raiders are going to trade up to get the second pick. They're going to flip picks, and they'll probably throw in next year's one, or they'll throw in a 2 and a 3, or whatever the case may be. But I would change. The Raiders are going to move up and get Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be a trade at this spot too. I think that the Browns are in a tricky situation. We're all kind of aware that the fact that Deshaun Watson was who they paid, had a huge contract too, and he just tore his Achilles this past season. They probably do need a quarterback, but they've already stated that they're going to bring Watson back. They're not going to cut him. They really can't because it's going to be so much money. And now that he's got that injury that happened, you're really, really, really stuck. No one's going to want to trade for him. So I think they're going to trade back. I think there's two very, very desperate teams in the first top 10 picks. That is one, the Giants right behind them, and two, the Raiders. I have said that the Giants are going to draft Shedeur. I think Giants trade up, take Shedeur at number 2. Browns trade back just one spot. I think the Giants probably give them another, maybe 1 or 2 other picks in the later rounds of like the next year and maybe the same year. Just to get up there, I think the Giants are the most desperate team in this draft. They need to land a quarterback and have that quarterback play well. If they're going to have Daboll come back another year, Shane, the GM, come back another year. So I think they're going to be very desperate, and I think they're going to pick Shedeur there.
I can see
It's
that
fair.
happening, too.
Mm-hmm.
Giants.
Well, I'm a man of theatrics, and I think this is where we're going to have history repeat itself. There's been the dialogue of Dion saying there's only a couple of teams that my son is going to go play for. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe that's going to be the Giants. So we could see another Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers situation where they demand a trade right then and there and leave the organization. I think if the Browns took Travis Hunter, Giants are going to be licking their chops. They're like, oh, he fell to us. We didn't have to give up draft capital. We got Shedeur. But as soon as that happens, Shedeur is going to request a trade. And I think what could happen is that the Raiders take up that offer. They say, hey, we're in a full rebuild. We're going to send you number 6 pick and Max Crosby. He's already had some issues saying, like, I want to be a part of a championship team. They're not going to build that right then and there. So I think it could be a good combo package there. Pair him with Brian Burns on that defensive front, bolster up that Giants defense, and then the Raiders get their man, their franchise QB in Shedeur, which we've seen some dialogue. Al Davis Jr. chatting him up at a basketball game saying, like, oh, we want you. You're coming here. You're at home. This is home. So I think that could be like the biggest theatrics of the draft. If not, another alternative I have at this pick, and it's kind of cheeky, is that the Giants take Ashton Genty. And they're like, we can get Saquon on a budget, try to basically make up for what happened this year. They get a younger version, athletic Ashton Genty to come in and play in that offense. So I think that's the two ways of what could happen. The theatrics of Raiders trading up if Shedeur requests a trade, or Giants go Ashton Genty.
Do you think that
Interesting.
Ashton Genty's draft stock went down because of the Penn State game?
No, not at all.
Like fumbled the ball. Like he did not look like he was
They-
playing well at all. Like
They also stacked the box on him. They brought everybody in on to stop him. They brought
There
in
was
like eight guys in the box every play to stop Genty.
yeah, But I mean, like he was still fumbling the ball. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
wasn't just like they stuffed him. Like
True.
he didn't play at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's a different defense that he's played than all year. Still, what? Didn't he put up 95 yards on like 25 carries,
Yeah,
something like
he
that?
did. Yeah. I think he did have 3 fumbles, 2 lost, but that O line, the Boise State O line, they don't see people like Penn State every game. That's a whole different kind of line. So just to be clear, Darren, you have either the Raiders trading up at the 3 spot to take Shador,
Correct. And then
or
Ashton Genty to the
or
Giants
Genty.
at 3. Mhm.
Okay.
For me, I like Ashton Genty. I don't think the Giants are really going to trade. I think, like, kind of like Darian said, they're going to either be forced to trade Shador or they're just not going to get him. I do like the Ashton Genty pickup because that's been the whole criticism all year long. So at least everybody loves Ashton Genty, and that'll save the GM and save the GM's job at least. I also like Will Campbell. I like them boosting up the O line and kind of going that route and maybe trade for another pick in the first round to get that quarterback. But yeah, those are my 2 options.
I like that.
So if I have the Giants at 2, that means I have the Browns at 3.
Mhm.
And I thought real outside the box here because I'm pretty interested to see what the Browns do in this draft. If this is what happens, where I think what's going to happen is they trade back to the 3 spot. I'm going to say they draft an edge rusher. I think they're going to go with probably one of the highest graded players in this draft, Abdul Carter from Penn State. He does play on the same side as Myles Garrett, so that's kind of an interesting thing for them to figure out. But you also had some rumors last year that Myles Garrett was going to get traded. So maybe if that really is in the works, you have Abdul Carter just to have as like a safety blanket, and you can have him at a cheaper price. He was originally at Ohio State, played really well there, transferred to Penn State, had a really good season this year. He's one of the highest graded players in this draft.
That would be interesting.
The Patriots at 1.4. Darren, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, Patriots here. Honestly, there's one glaring thing that they really need to address. And I'm on board with the other content creators that have kind of gone through their initial mock drafts, and they got to go wide receiver. I mean, they had Demario Douglas, who we all were like, oh, he's a sleeper. He's a sleeper. He didn't really show out too much. Booty and Bourne had some couple of good games like towards the end of the season, but nobody really noteworthy, a big target for Drake May to throw to. And I think Patriots are going to address wide receiver here with Tet McMillan out of Arizona. Big body, big frame, good route running. I think that's the kind of person that they need to just create explosive plays, and then just have those other pieces with Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson in the backfield, along with Demario, Booty, Hunter Henry, just to help out solidify playmakers on that offense. So I agree with them. I think I definitely think wide receiver is the way to address this team initially in the first round.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I definitely think Patriots definitely need a wide receiver, whether that be free agency and the draft. I think that's kind of where they should go. Free agency and the draft, maybe get Higgins and then draft a receiver as well. I also have McMillan. They're going there. I haven't put Travis Hunter there yet. So their defense also kind of needs a little bit of work. So maybe I know Travis Hunter said that he wants to try to do both. Patriots definitely need both. So I can kind of see them taking Travis as well. So yeah.
Yeah, at the 4 spot, I have Travis Hunter there at the Patriots. I think it's kind of a risky pick, to be honest with you. Not a lot of corners are picked in the top 10 historically. That doesn't really happen very often. And I guess the argument here is that he's going to be playing both sides. I don't think he's going to really be playing both sides. I think ultimately he'll play the majority of snaps at corner, and he'll have some packages on offense where you'll use him on third down and in the red zone. And I think he could be successful doing that.
Mhm.
If maybe you consistently line him up on third down and in the red zone on offense, maybe that's his most success. I wouldn't go anything past that.
I can see that.
The Jaguars.
Now, I mean, they just fired Doug Peterson, so somebody is coming in to take on the team. They got Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Tank Bixby, BTJ, Gabe Davis. They have some good pieces on offense. The O line, I think, could be bolstered. I think probably in free agency. I don't think you're going to waste your first round pick on O linemen. You maybe Kelvin Banks, just because they got rid of Cam Robinson, traded him to the Vikings. He got hurt. He's been habitually hurt his entire career. So left tackle is definitely a pressing issue, but I think this draft class is pretty stacked when it comes to tackles. So I think you can maybe let this slide at 5, wait to the second round and get your guy or get a combo guys through free agency in the second round or later rounds in the draft. So I think we got to address the secondary. It was one of the worst in the NFL. You need a prime time corner. I think taking the second best one would be Will Johnson out of Michigan. I think that's what you got to do. You got to find your next Jalen Ramsey that you drafted years back. So coincidentally, I think he was also drafted at the 5th overall pick when Ramsey came in, or was the 4th? I don't recall, but it was a top 5 pick last time they picked a corner. So I definitely think Jaguars address the secondary, get their guy in Will Johnson, who arguably is probably the third or second best corner in this draft class. So that's my guess there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that if the Patriots get Travis Hunter, then Will Johnson will fall to 5. If the Patriots go with McMillan, then the Jags will get Travis Hunter. I think the Jags, that pick is going to go to a cornerback at their, like you said, they're one of the last teams in the last place secondary. They need to revamp that 100%.
Yeah, and I think they're either going to go on the offensive line here or the defensive line. I'm not 100% sure. I've seen a lot of the mock drafts have Mason Graham here from Michigan. I've seen that a lot. So I could see that happening. My mind when I was kind of doing the 1 through 5 thought the same thought that Darian just laid out. That left tackle, they just got rid of that Cam Robinson there. I think they'll try to address that. I think Kelvin Banks Jr. goes there at 5.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be a really good fit, Kelvin Banks. That's what I was really kind of torn with, was either Will Johnson or Kelvin Banks there. Now, I was trying to think, just with defensive line, like you mentioned, I think they could also trade away Trayvon Walker. He truly hasn't been up to a 101 pick like he was touted to be. So, I mean, I could see, just based on how I was drafting, that Abdul Carter could be here too, depending on how the first 4 shake out. So,
yeah,
edge could be a good thing to pair with Josh Allen too. Yeah, Josh Allen Hines, I should say.
I mean, I kind of think that Mason Graham might be a hot take. I think he's probably the best player in the draft. So he's definitely an option there. And I think if you hold on to Walker and Josh Allen, and you plug that up in the middle with Graham, that is something I could see them trying to do maybe. But I think I think they have bigger problems on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So that is our mock draft 1.0. That is definitely subject to change. You see most of the major networks, they give you 3 or 4 of them. We'll probably give you 2, maybe 3.
30
And-
from me.
It's gonna be interesting because last draft there's one trade in the first round.
yeah,
I think there's like 1 or 2 trades in the first round where that's like I think that was like the lowest trade in history in the first round. So I'm excited to see.
they were projecting like 7 or 8 trades in the first round last year.
Yeah.
Exactly. Can't wait.
Yeah. Can't wait for the draft. Love the draft. That is,
I love the draft.
I love it so much.
Darian actually put me onto the draft one time. We were babysitting Ethan's dog back when he was living in Arizona, and he was like, it was during the draft, and I've never watched the draft. I don't know why. I've never really been into it. And then Darian's like, "Oh, the draft's on." I was like, "Oh, cool. I'll watch the first couple rounds." Ended up watching all three days. I was like, "Okay, I understand why you like the draft now. Like, it's cool." So he definitely put me on.
The draft is awesome.
Yeah, just to like take your guesses too, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, they're gonna address this, and then be completely surprised, or like actually get it right, or some iteration or close to it.
I think it's especially interesting for the Steelers this year with the mid-round sort of pick they have. Like if they go and get Ime Ibuka from Ohio State, man, that would be a great pick, I think. But
Bengals are taking him at 17.
oh, you think so?
Mm-hmm. Bengals are taking him up. If T leaves, Bengals.
See,
There's a
I
lot
don't
of
even
TikTok.
know- I don't even know who we would want that. Like, what position are we need for?
Well, if Najee leaves, you would think running back.
Well, yeah,
Receiver, though, I think you guys need
Yeah,
another receiver.
but we got Roman, and he was the second round pick.
Yeah, but he sat out this entire year.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, and then our offensive line they're all young.
Yeah,
Like they're
Some
all
of them are
rookie
pretty good.
cornerbacks. Huh?
I think it's.
Some of them are good, but
Yeah, but I'm saying like, I just don't know.
I think it's obvious you need a offensive weapon, someone you can get the ball to.
or another corner.
Yeah, or corner. I think the offensive struggles though, especially like with the way their playoffs end. I think that's going to be fresh in their mind, and they're going to go with a receiver
Yeah.
or running back. But I would think receiver.
Who did y'all draft this year? It was Tuoluisi Fuaga or something like that.
It was like Otaku. But he
Yeah.
got hurt.
Yeah, you got hurt.
I think he got hurt before even the regular season.
Yeah.
Like both of our picks that I was excited for got hurt. I was like, what the fuck?
I remember I can't remember what year this was. Maybe 2011, 12? No. Probably 2010. I don't know. That was the year where the Broncos drafted Tim Tebow.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at like football practice or something, and I got home and all my friends had texted me. They're like, "Can you believe they just took Tebow?" And that was when I fell in love with the draft.
Damn.
Yeah.
Mm.
Too bad.
Because that was like,
That could have been pick.
hey guys, got us a playoff win over your team. So those are good times, man, with Tebow. That shit was
That's when I became a hater. That moment there, I was like, fucking everyone's kneeling, everyone's loving Tebow. I was like, fuck that guy.
That is funny.
But let's get on to some of the news. Big headline that was not really more of a headline today, but I thought it was worth talking about. Aaron Rodgers Is he going to retire? He just had his last game of the regular season with the Jets against the Dolphins. He won. He threw his 500th touchdown. Only 5 quarterbacks have ever done that: Brady, Breeze, Manning, and Favre. Now Rodgers. He kind of threw some shots at the Jets organization on the Pat McAfee show. Said stuff about like it'd be the first time I'd ever been cut. That's a first for me. It'd be the first time I'd ever be cut by a teenager. I looked into that because I didn't really know what he meant by that. Apparently, like the Woody Johnson's sons are like heavily involved in the organization or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's like throwing shots at them, and to me, sounds like he's going to be cut. But what do you guys think? Do you think he's going to be cut, and do you believe he retires after that? Number one, why don't you go?
I don't think so. I think they put too much into Aaron Rodgers to just have him be like a one and done type of quarterback, and plus they don't have a backup plan. I feel like if they had a backup plan, then it would be different. But they have Tyrod Taylor. He's going to be the starting quarterback. Are they going to try to trade and get another quarterback? Are they going to try to do the draft again? And they're like 10 or something like that. They're pretty high, huh?
They'll draft Jalen Milroe.
Mm-hmm. It's Jalen Milroe for sure.
So, like, do you want to try to do that again? Where, I don't know. I see him coming back one more year. Is it with the Jets? I could see that happening, but I can also see him going to another team. The Niners, I heard somebody talk about. That would be interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I think if I had to guess, I say that the Jets are going to re-sign him for a 1-year deal. They're going to re-sign Adams. They're going to be like, all right, it was Saleh's fault. It was because you didn't have a coach, no offensive coordinator. Like, make up all these excuses. Let's try to run it back one more time. And then still draft a quarterback. Because I think he openly said, I'll be willing to be a mentor for a quarterback. So.
Oh, yeah, right.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Darren, what do you think?
Aaron's got the chance to do the funniest thing ever. And I'm going to use this motto, like father, like son.
Oh, my God, yes.
He's walking in the same path. It's just one more stop. Let's get you on over to Minnesota. You want to be a mentor?
No shot.
JJ, coming off ACL. Sam Darnold's having a great year. He's going to get picked up by somebody, guaranteed, or traded for. Shit, he can also mentor Daniel Jones and JJ. But he's got the chance to do the funniest thing. Sign a 1-year deal. Go to Minnesota. Follow in your daddy's footsteps. I think he's going to go. He's leaving. He's getting cut for sure. But to go where, I don't know. I think he's going to get cut. I could see him going to Minnesota. I maybe not see him go to San Fran. I mean, it would be a nice ending spot since he went to Cal, grew up in the area, and they didn't draft him. They picked Alex Smith over him, so it'd be kind of like a fuck you promo. Because that's just how he moves. Like, there's no point in making a move to actually go win somewhere. It's just to make a point. I mean, that's like just how he moves. He operates. And I also do think they cut Devontae too. Just kind of trim the fat, cut the package, and keep Garrett Wilson. But if I'm him, I'm just cutting all my losses, bro. I'm in too much of the media's eyes, and I'm doing too much damage to my own self, to the teams I'm playing for. It's time to call it quits.
He likes that, though. Like, think about it. He doesn't have a family. He literally has nothing after football. Like, football is literally his life. You know what I mean?
Whose fault is that?
No, I'm not saying anything, but I'm not saying that's whatever. But I'm saying, like, I think that especially after that ACL tear,
yeah,
not ACL, Achilles tear, where he's like, fuck, he's like, damn, this is gonna be my life after I retire, where I'm literally just sitting here and watching Red Zone. Like, this kind of sucks in this big ass house that it's only me living in. I guess now he has a girlfriend, but I'm
For now.
saying like it's
For now.
yeah. But I'm just saying, like, I can't see him walking away from football, especially how bad of a job he did this year.
My man's walked away from Olivia Munn and Shailene Woodley. This man don't give a damn about nothing. Like, he had two successful women. Olivia Munn went like damn near stir crazy for this man. And Shailene was just like, hey, I'm gonna go fucking hug a tree in an oil line.
Woodley, she said that was the darkest time in her life.
Yeah. Like, he does some crazy shit.
No, he's
It
a
is-
cynical piece of shit.
It is
Uh,
nuts.
My opinion, I think the writing's on the wall here. I think the Jets are going to get rid of Rodgers. There was that rumor that floated around midseason where Woody Johnson came to the coach and said, hey, do we bench Rodgers? And I think that was true. I think that actually did happen. You saw him throw a pick six in that Seattle game that ended that game. I mean, all their games were terrible. There was a lot of things that were on his shoulders. They won whatever it was, 5 games this year. I think you can't bring him back. I think the Jets are going to blow it up. I don't even think Garrett Wilson will be back. I think Devontae will be gone. Garrett Wilson will be gone. Reader on the other side will be gone. I think everyone's going to be gone. You've heard there was a rumor that I heard this on the Rich Eisen show that they had a team meeting and they talked to Sauce Gardner and they said, why don't you talk to T. Higgins about coming here? And Sauce said, hell no, I'm not talking to T to come here.
I saw that.
Like, that's crazy when Sauce says that. Someone on your team says, no, I'm not going to bring someone into this mess. So I think they cut him. And ladies and gentlemen, I think we finally made it. He's going to ride off into that sunset or darkness, whatever he chooses. And we'll hear from him. We will definitely hear from him. He will make sure of that. But I think he has played his last down of football. Because really, when you think about it, where he's at, if the Jets don't bring him back, to me, that's the only logical place he can end up is the Jets. What other team out there is like, you know what? We're going to get Aaron Rodgers. We're going to put him on our team, and we're going to go win a Super Bowl. What team? Give me one team that's going to say that right now. Nobody. You think the Niners are going to want someone that's older than the coach or just as old as the coach and have them butt heads all season long? And then what do you do with Purdy? Like, you're just going to let Purdy walk? I think the Vikings are going to bring back Sam Darnold.
Franchise tag.
Yeah. I don't know what team out there would want to bring Aaron Rodgers in. And if you bring Aaron Rodgers in, he's now a bridge quarterback. You really think he's going to be content with being a bridge quarterback? No. And he's not taking a veteran's minimum for sure. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gone. I think he's going to be retired. There's nowhere else he can go. He's at the end of his rope.
He's going to join Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And floaters.
Yeah. I mean, I would say Rodgers looked better than Kirk this year, but Kirk had more wins, so.
Crazy.
The Jets, in other news, they are searching for their new head coach. They have interviewed some people. San Francisco quarterback coach Brian Griese, former Bronco. Matt Nagy, hot name. And they have requested to interview Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. Meanwhile, Rex Ryan says he absolutely believes he's going to be the next head coach of the Jets. Sounds like some early onset dementia, if you ask me. But
Hey, 2 back-to-back AFC championship games with Mark Sanchez. Just
Yeah.
remember that.
I know. I get that.
I'm telling
I
you,
get that.
imagine Rex and Aaron Rodgers. Ooh,
Oh yeah.
that would
Oh,
Yeah, that'll.
that would be a
Rex
good
Rex would
team.
put him in his fucking place, bro.
Yeah,
My
he
money's
would.
on Rex.
Rex can't coach anymore.
He can't. He's a TV personality now.
Yeah, and he's terrible at that too. So
But at least his teeth look good.
yeah, his teeth look great, and from what I hear, he really likes some feet. So, Liver, what do you think about some of these coaching candidates they have? Are you impressed with any of them? Who do you think they will land as their head coach?
The Jets?
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't. Because it's like at one point, you need an offensive mind. I feel like the offensive coach is the way to go in the NFL nowadays. I think that's the direction. Even Mike Tomlin came out and said the direction, like if I had to pick what specialty I would want, it would be an offensive mind because of how the NFL is set up right now. So I really don't know. It really just depends on what they're doing with a quarterback.
Yeah. It's hard. It's definitely hard to answer, especially because they're so early in the process.
100%.
I can see Mike McCarthy going there
Mm.
and keeping Aaron.
Ooh,
That'd be interesting.
Going there.
yeah.
Oh, reunion.
Mike McCarthy has the funniest thing he could do right now.
Make Aaron Rodgers look even worse his final year.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Shoot. I don't know when it comes to the Jets. Maybe since I think the Lions are on a Super Bowl or bust kind of wave at the moment. Ben Johnson, he was a candidate for last year of relocating. He's been, I mean, that offense is pretty nuts over in Detroit. He could possibly be somebody for late season like interviews and could potentially move, barring if the Lions win the Super Bowl. I think if they fall short or like are really close and they fall short, he'll probably stay again and make another run next year. But after that, he's gone. But when it comes to what's out there, I mean, I definitely would interview Spagnuolo. Like that defense has won championships. I'd have that kind of mentality on that team and coaching that team.
He's definitely going to get a head coaching job. 100%.
I really hope so. I really hope so.
He deserves one.
That would put a little chink in the chain for the Kansas City Chiefs. I would love for someone to take him.
Yeah.
Please.
Do you think that there should be a rule that that you can't declare a head coach? Excuse me, you can't declare the head coach until after the Super Bowl. Like if you can interview some head coaches, but then like Spags, you shouldn't be able to interview Spags until after the Super Bowl or until after they're out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous that he's interviewing while he's preparing for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like what? What are we
Kind of like
talking about?
tampering. It's like the tampering rules in NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Like you
Yeah,
have to
like,
wait
what the
till
hell are we
window.
talking about? Arthur Smith. They asked Arthur Smith about the rumors about him interviewing for coaching. It was funny, and that's what he said. He was like, I'm preparing for the Ravens right now. I don't have time.
I
to
cannot
interview."
believe anyone would want him as
I
their head coach.
know.
There's no chance.
Like that makes zero sense. Why would you want Arthur Smith?
Baffles me.
That makes no sense to me. I can't believe Matt Nagy is in the running. That guy was so bad with the Bears.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
And there's not too many coaches that like become head coaches, become offensive coordinators, and then become head coaches again and succeed.
Yeah.
Shit, somebody get Lovey Smith on the phone, bro.
Yeah.
Get him back in the league.
He's at Illinois, right? Illinois State.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Somebody get him on the phone.
Do you think there's going to be some college coaches that come up, or probably not?
Not too many, but probably
Not this year.
probably one. I saw that someone just hired Bryce's head coach. The Browns did as their offensive coordinator.
Mm.
Wow.
So the next story we have Lamar Jackson. He spoke, I think today or yesterday, about some of the mistakes he's made in the playoffs. He blames some of the playoff failures on being too antsy. He said that he's been too amped up. He said, really, I just be too excited. That's all. I'm too antsy. I'm seeing things before it happens. Like, oh, I have to calm myself down. But just being more experienced, I've found a way to balance it out. And then he said, you have to play mistake free. This game is won with a turnover battle, keeping the ball in your control. In his 6 starts, he has thrown 6 interceptions and lost 3 fumbles and produced 9 touchdowns. He is 2-4 in his playoff career. Do you think this year he finally can get over the hump and win the Super Bowl? Darren, why don't you start?
I don't think so. I think it just happens again. I don't know if it's because he's too antsy, and I think it's actually going to be on the coaching staff and the play calling that they have on offense. And if they find themselves playing against the Chiefs in the divisional or the conference championship, depending on how like the seeding goes and playoffs go, they need to run the damn ball. We've seen it that when they run and they run efficiently, they can beat them and they can beat the Chiefs. Case in point, last year, first half, they were running the ball like crazy on the Chiefs. And then the second half, they were trying to air it out, try to do too much, and then went away from the run game. That's how they ended up losing the game. Same with the 49ers. They were coming out hot, running against the Chiefs, and Chris McCaffrey was having a great game. And then in the second half, Kyle Shanahan got cheeky, started trying to pass the ball too much. The Chiefs secondary is really damn good, and they lost the game because the one lost possession, didn't control time, and they weren't running the ball against the Chiefs and having diverse play calling. So with that, I think it's not going to be on him. He's putting too much weight on his shoulders on their losses. Yeah, the turnovers suck, but like if we go back to it, let's look at the play calling. What plays did he have the turnovers? What plays? Like what was Harbaugh doing? What down and distance? What? And he was maybe trying to overcompensate and do too much because it was a bad play call. So I think it's not on him. I don't think he gets to the Super Bowl. I hope it's the Bills. Personal bias, but I think the Bills kind of on the hot streak, keeping the flame going, and I give all that credit to Haley Steinfeld.
Never, what do you think?
I think he does. I think he does specifically because of what Darian said. Last year, they had J.K. Dobbins. They steered away from the running game. This year, you literally traded for Derrick Henry, arguably one of the best running backs in the league right now. And you are going to use them if you have Derrick Henry, just like they've been doing all year long. And if he doesn't, then he's going to actually run it, just like what his mom told him, what his mama said. So I think that he has the chance to definitely to make it. I think they are my favorites to win the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, because I do not like the Ravens. But this is a Steeler fan saying they are my favorites to win the Super Bowl, specifically because of the momentum that they have going into the Super Bowl, going into the playoffs. Their defense looks unbelievable. I mean, and since that loss, I think to us right before their bye week, they are they ever since then it's like a completely different new team. Plus, if you think about it, they're the only team that has a week 14 bye. I guess the Chiefs had a 2-week bye right before the playoffs, but other than that, like no other team is as rested as they are, and eager and hungry and all of that type of stuff. So I think I can see Lamar. I mean, I kind of thrown like a weird, funny stat, like internet stat, I like to say, out, but I truly believe it that I think this is the Ravens' year.
Yeah, I don't know. I love watching the Ravens play. I love watching Lamar play. I think they're a really good team, even though I said they probably weren't going to be before the season started. But I just think that the Chiefs know how to play them. I think they know how to line up against them. They know how to make Lamar make those kind of mistakes. So if the Chiefs weren't there, I would say the Ravens are going to win it, but unfortunately the Chiefs are still there. So I think
But the Chiefs also haven't been looking good.
they're 15-1.
Yeah, against who though?
What are we
like,
talking
That's
about?
what I'm saying. Like they haven't played. Who have they beaten? Look at their
They are-
schedule. Look at their
They are
schedule.
back-to-back Super Bowl champions with 15-1 schedule.
I'm saying, look, let me read out the opponents that they beat.
It doesn't matter. They lost or 15-2. They lost 2 games this year.
I think they
And
won.
how many of those two?
Yeah,
and how many
15-2.
15 wins have made the Super Bowl? Let's see.
I've been-
They played the Ravens week 1, so that's 1. Bengals not playoffs. Chiefs Falcons not playoffs. Chargers they beat. That's 2. Saints no. Niners no. Raiders no. Bucks once they beat them in overtime. Bills they lost to. Panthers, Raiders, they barely beat the Chargers. Texans they beat on Christmas, and then the Steelers. That's 4. 4 out of 15. You're telling me 4 out of 15? That's a good team.
Yeah, they're a good team because they won back-to-back Super Bowls and they were 15-2.
No, I'm talking about this year.
I think he's Nimmer's trying to say the quality of
The
wins.
quality of wins is awful, and now it's the playoffs where everything's
I think we're-
faster. Like, come on.
I think we are forgetting about last year. They looked mediocre in the regular season, and then the playoffs started, and they looked like the old Chiefs.
No.
What happened this year?
They in this year or last year they started catching edge. We said that from the very beginning. They're gonna catch edge. They're gonna catch edge, but they haven't. I mean, yeah, they beat the Steelers, but other than that, they haven't really blown anybody out, or they had a quality win.
We will see how it goes. I have a lot of faith that the Chiefs are gonna win the Super Bowl. I hate to say it, but
They're like a 9-8 team in reality,
100%.
based on how some of these games kind of went.
they're not though.
But
They are literally
one
the
play
Bengals
decided
if
a lot
the
of these
Bengals
games.
played bad teams.
Trust me, I hate them just as much as you guys do. We can't take away that they are top 5 in defense. They have Patrick Mahomes, who's the best quarterback in the league today, even though his stats aren't there in the regular season. I still think he's the best quarterback. You have a team and a roster that have won 2 back-to-back Super Bowls. You have a head coach who is one of the most winning coaches right now. Like, you can't say this is a bad team.
I'm saying that they're a 9-8 team.
Yeah, they're not a 15
That's
and
still a
2
winning team.
that you said. Like, there's no way.
They are literally look at their fucking
No, I'm
schedule
saying
and they're
the
15 and
quality
2.
of the wins are not good though. You can't. So there's an asterisk between that 15 and 2.
There is no asterisk. Come
So
on.
you're saying that a 15, or you're saying that they played really well every single game that they won.
No, but it's not about
So
that.
then they're not a 15 and 2 team. That's what I'm saying.
It's not about looking good every single week. It's not about that. It's about looking good at the end of the season, which is what they did last year and the season before that.
Did they look
I'll
good
say
year
this.
at the end of the season?
The season hasn't ended yet.
No, I'm saying at the end of the regular season. Going into the playoffs.
Did they look good last year?
Yes, at the end of the season.
No,
last
they
year
did not.
Yes,
They did not look good. They
At
did
the
not
end
look
of the
good.
season,
Everyone was saying the same thing last year. Everyone was saying the same thing. Everyone was saying they are a mediocre team. They don't belong here. They don't deserve it. And the playoffs started, and they started winning and winning and winning, and then won the whole thing.
you know, let's talk about this. Every team, there's 31 teams that are currently playing at a disadvantage. So everyone talks about how there's three sides of the football, like a football team. You got offense, you got defense, you got special teams. Three components of football. The Kansas City Chiefs, this is where they have the advantage. They play four sides of the ball. You got the offense, you got the defense, you got the special teams, and then you got the refs.
The referees.
The referees are in the back pocket of Patrick Mahomes, and they make out after every game. Like he's in the back, in the shed with the refs, paying them off because that's how they won most of these damn games.
They did what they did to the Steelers without Chris Jones.
I don't give a fuck about the Steelers.
Has their defense looked good all year?
Their defenses look fine, but no.
Their defense is elite.
You're saying
All right, when you give up 27 points,
Their defense is elite.
you give up 27 points to the Carolina Panthers and you eke out a win. That's not elite.
Yeah.
The Panthers were in close games with everyone at the end of the season.
Yeah, and I tried telling you motherfuckers, but that's a different thing.
I've said it from the start of the season. They preserve their playbook. They don't show looks until they get to the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Last year, when they played, or 2 years ago, when they played the Eagles, they had that motion play where they won the Super Bowl off that. They did it last year against the Niners. We'd never seen them run that motion play in the regular season. They ran it only in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the corn dog fucking Y split, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Fucking Andy Reid's fat.
I'm telling you, they're gonna pull that. They're gonna pull that play out in the Super Bowl this year, and they're gonna pull out some other look we've never seen before, and it's gonna catch the defense by surprise, unless they got Josh McDaniels on the other sideline with cameras on their practice. Like that's the only way you're gonna win.
Honestly, bring back cheating. I'm getting mad. I'm thinking about everyone wearing Chiefs gear again in my office. It's really gonna piss me off.
Well, we got one more topic. This is related to the Chiefs once again.
God damn, I forgot about it.
Travis Kelce, he was on the what's that, New Heights podcast with his brother Jason. Jason proposed the question: did you guys throw the game purposely against the Broncos? Travis Kelce responded with, I ain't scared of fucking no one. I wanted them in the fucking playoffs. And then he said, I'll play them in the Walmart parking lot. So I will ask you guys, do you believe what he's saying? Do you believe that truthfully the Steelers didn't throw that game? They didn't want they didn't care They didn't care if the Bengals were in the playoffs or not. Why don't you go first?
I don't think that had anything to do with why they sat the second week. I don't think that if the roles were reversed, that if the Broncos lost, then the Bengals would be in, then they would play their starters. I really don't think they were solidified number 1 seed. There's no reason to play your starters the final week. And I mean, that's why we have fantasy football end at the week 17 because of things like this. Like, I don't think that was the reason. Do I think that the Chiefs are relieved that the Bengals aren't in the playoffs? Absolutely. I think that, no offense, but I think that the Bengals are a better team than the Broncos. I think the Chiefs would rather see the Broncos than the Bengals. And so I don't think that, I think that they are a little bit relieved that the Bengals are in there, but I don't think that they sat their starters because they wanted the Broncos to go in and the Bengals to be out.
What do you think, Darren?
I just hate having a guy talk all that shit when truthfully this was one of his worst years, arguably probably his worst year when it comes to stats and shit. What did he even do when they played him the first time? I'm pretty sure he didn't do shit against the Bengals. Yeah, he had 1 catch, 5 yards.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not scared of nobody. I fear God. Fuck you. No, I mean, I hate the whole kind of shit talking. Like, yeah, okay, you went 15-2, good shit. I don't care. Just be quiet until you play, or someone talks shit to you. It was just a poised question. Say, yeah, the Bengals would have been a good team to play against. Yeah, it was a good matchup the first time. Would love a rematch. Keep it humble. Keep it modest. Shut the hell up with all this smack talk. Like, I'm not afraid of nobody. You should be, because somebody about to come knocking on this damn Chiefs doorstep and bust that door in.
That's the Denver Broncos.
It's the Denver motherfucking Broncos.
Yeah, for Kelsey, I believe him. I believe that he himself did not throw the game. I do have some suspicion about Andy Reid and the coaching of that game because 0 points. Not a single point. They went for it on 4th down, like in the first quarter, and turned the ball over. And then the Broncos had the ball, and Bo Nix went 17 of 18 in the first half. I mean, unless the Broncos had this monstrous game plan where even if they played the starters, the Broncos were going to win, then I would say, okay, maybe I'm wrong. But I do think that the Chiefs purposely lost that game. And they were scared of the boogeyman, Mr. Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, just a little bit. I think they fear him more than they fear Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson because he's beat them in the playoffs before. So I do think collectively they are more scared of Burrow. And yes, I would say that the Bengals are a better team.
He's the only person that beat him in the playoffs, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy also that the Bengals they had the passing leader this year, the Triple Crown wide receiver, and then also the sack leader, and aren't in the playoffs.
Yeah. They just turned it on too late. They can't blame anybody else but themselves.
Yeah, seriously.
They got to fire Zach Taylor. I don't know how he still has a job. If they're average next year, well, now you fired him too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
But that's it from us. We gave you 2 solid shows. We had Hook on yesterday. We had Sammy on today, both champions in both the leagues that we hosted. She will be waiting for the money from you guys. Remember the deal there?
Now, after all that shit talking, I don't know if I'm gonna spend money.
I'm giving her a penny every single day until the next season.
She cashed it in with roasting my ass.
Call her Sammy Glazer. She sounded like Nikki Glazer there.
Dude.
She did. I was gonna say that too. That's so funny.
The delivery one was like a part of you. Like there was hints of you in that, and I was like, man, this motherfucker wrote her jokes.
That's funny. I hope she's watching. But that should be it from us. Is there anything you guys want to say before we get out of here?
Shit, it's good to be back.
We'll be back next week. We have the wild card matchups this weekend. We will be talking about the divisional round next week. Hate to say it, but the season is coming close to an end here. It's going to be sad days when it ends.
Mm-hmm.
But enjoy it while it's still here. Playoffs are always such a great time of year. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good night.